This special SalemNews.com report is brought to you by the THC Foundation, serving the cannabis community since 1999.
Welcome to another segment in our ongoing series with Dr. Phil Levesque here at SalemNews.com on the subject of medical marijuana. Today we're going to be talking about the changes in mainstream medical marijuana information and how things have changed over the many years.
I can't remember when, what should I say, good articles started coming out, but they never came out from the United States. They came from Holland or England or Israel or Brazil or all over the place. And so I said, well, you know, this is really strange because the U.S. government says this is bad, but this is, I mean, U.S. government, NIDA, National Institute of Drug Abuse, and all of those were so out in left field that I just started wondering myself, well, why are these government employees doing this? Well, they were paid to do this, and they were paid to lie, and they're still lying to this day. And we've got a whole bunch of the drug czars and so forth that if they had more than 2 neurons, they knew that they were lying, but they were getting paid to lie. And so they said there's no research. There's been research going on for 5,000 years, and it has come to a crescendo within about the past 10, something like that. And I don't know how many articles there are about medical cannabis as medicine, but I would estimate somewhere around 2,000, maybe more than that. And of course, one of the best stories about this is Granny Stormcrow's list, which lists about, well, maybe 100 or 150 different diseases for which marijuana not only is good, but she has the medical articles which substantiate this. So in the past 2-3 years, 2 of the most remarkable persons for the legalization of marijuana cannabis have died. Todd McArea, for one, and Jack Herrera as the second one. Todd McArea was a psychiatrist, one of the first people who advocated the use of marijuana. And of course, Jack Herrera is, I don't know how many years he's been doing this, but he started writing his book about 1985.
Yeah, I think he said 37 years last time he talked about it.
Yeah. Well, that's his book is monumental, and just like I say, those 2 really were the gurus of marijuana, cannabis, hemp, whatever you want to call it. When I was one of the first doctors in Oregon to have medical marijuana patients in 1999. And at that time, the Department of Health Services says about 500 people will be eligible in Oregon for this. And I figured, well, maybe I'll get about 20 all at the same time. And so during the first year, I had 1,000 patients. And I said to myself, well, I'd probably be running out by now. The second doctor had 72 patients after a year. And so they kept on coming. They just kept on coming. I was the first person to have 1,000, the first person to have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000. And the Oregonian took great delight in publishing what a bad person that I was, and the fact that all of my patients were addicted to a terrible drug. Devil drug or something. There's several terms for it, but they even bootlegged a picture of me standing in front of my house to put on the front page of the Oregonian about this time, And from then on, anytime they couldn't figure a good story, they would print something about me. So,
well, you're very popular in your sensational self.
well, I think that I ended up having more stories and pictures about me than all of the rest of the doctors in Oregon since they started publishing the Oregonian. And I go places and people say, "Hey, I know you. Where have I seen you? And you're that crazy doctor from Malala, aren't you?"
I've taken you out in public. I can vouch for that. Well, we only have so many people that really led the fight and are still leading the fight. I'm sorry that we've lost two of them. You're one of the heroes as well, as you know you are.
I'm glad to get that accolade. The thing it is that when I started doing this in 1999, or even before that, I could not have pictured myself not only getting the publicity, but the bad publicity, particularly in the Oregonian, but the Willamette Week outed me, and Portland Tribune is, well, when the Oregonian printed that I was a danger to all of my patients and the public in general, I said, boy, my patients are pretty stupid coming to me, because I had 5,000 of them.
Well, I think if they just asked your patients, they probably would have got a different story.
I think so. But some of my patients drove here from Ontario 400-plus miles to see me. I had patients in every county of the state. And when they revoked my license because I was a dangerous doctor, 5,000 people were hanging by their thumbs. Yeah. Now, it's certainly worth mentioning, I think there are 14 states now who have legalized marijuana, and I think the government...
Medical
marijuana. Yeah.
Let's just make sure that we have that.
And well, it sounds to me like the governor, Schwarzenegger, whatever his name is.
He's not your governor. It's okay.
Yeah, but I think some of his comments were quite good. That he said, "It's only a plant." Well, that's true. It's just a plant, but. I think there's very strong evidence that they are going to legalize marijuana in California. And in the meantime, the cops are going crazy down there. And in last year, 2009, the California Highway Patrol made 665 raids, and they destroyed 1,400,000 marijuana plants. And if somebody thinks that that was all of them, they're crazier than a bed bug, because I think they're probably afraid to get into the northern California counties, because the locals up there have booby traps and all sorts of stuff, and the cops are...
Oh, that's just a rumor.
Oh. Well, not exactly.
No, not exactly. But, because of the education that you've been able to put forth, but these other people that we've mentioned too, those 14 states and like 10 more states, I think, are on the ballots for this year. Yep. We're changing the world. You are changing the world. You have helped lead the fight to help. Last year, 880,000 people in the United States were arrested, many of those for things that medical cannabis really, if they were in the right places, so it would not have been a crime. That's true. So using cannabis really should not be a crime.
Another thing, because of this program, we have inquiries from all over the world coming in here, and they're valid questions. And I was supposed to be invited to a camp fest in Australia in May of this year, and I would have been proud to do that. That would have been great. I have relatives that have been living down there.
We'll work on it for next year.
That's good.
There you go. If you have any questions for Dr. Phil Levesque about medical marijuana, please email them to us here in the newsroom. Newsroom@salem-news.com. With Dr. Phil Levesque in Salem, Oregon, I'm Bonnie King with SalemNews.com.